Hello everyone, I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while and this is the second time I've done this video today. I'm using my external mic on my camera and I've been waffling on for about 7 or 8 minutes talking to the camera, and I've just noticed that the microphone levels weren't moving because I hadn't got the plug plugged right back into my camera properly. So luckily I stopped, realised that and checked it. The video I want to do today is just a quick run through of my equipment that I've got and that I use. I've been doing photography now for about 16 months and I've acquired a fair bit of equipment in that time. So I just wanted to do a quick run through of what I'm using now and what I've got. There's no particular order to it. I've got it all out on the table in front of me and I'm just going to run through it as fast as I can and try not to bore you to death. Initially I bought my camera, the Sony a6400, which is a mirrorless 24 megapixel camera, crop sensor, and I bought it 16 months ago. Before that I was using my phone to do B-roll work, just to play around editing and try and improve kind of family kind of videos and things like that. I wasn't that much into photography. I did like taking photos, but I wasn't into it that much. So I bought it to try and get into photography and to improve the quality of my videos. Before my camera, I was using a gimbal. Now this is the DJI Osmo 3 gimbal. How this works is you put your camera into the slot and hold it like that and press record. It keeps your camera dead straight so you can move your camera around, whatever, you can run with it and the video will be 98% perfectly steady. These are very, very good. The only downside is they're a bit in your face when you get them out. If you want to be a bit discreet, you've got to kind of set it all up and you're walking around the streets or on the beach or wherever you're going with this, and you do feel a bit on show, if you kind of know what I mean. But if you're alright and you're not kind of self-conscious like that, then it's not a problem. But I feel a bit of a tool, to be honest, walking around with this. But you kind of get, the more you kind of use it on holiday or whatever, you kind of get used to it. This was about £114 and I don't really use it that much anymore because I've got my camera and I do most of my video work on that. I have been thinking of selling it, but I've decided not to because no doubt I will use it again, and I do use it from time to time. It's good because it does things like tracking, time lapses. You can set it up on a tripod, put it on your face, and you can walk around and it will constantly follow you and track you. So it's kind of good if you want to do your own kind of video work with your phone. So for the price, if you're just using a phone, I highly recommend one of them. I think they're on the Osmo 5 now, I think. So that's the Osmo 3. The next thing I bought after my camera was a drone. I always wanted a drone and they were quite expensive, and I thought to myself, I'm going to pay that much money and I don't think I'm going to use it that much. Then the DJI Mini 2 came out and the quality I saw on videos of this drone doing photos and video work was perfect. It was good enough for me to add to my kind of video work, the work that I do and try to achieve. This was £419 and I bought it as the standalone drone on its own. The drone with the controller and one battery. You can get a Fly More, it's called a Fly More combo kit or something like that, where you get 2 extra batteries, like a bag, a case, and a charger. Thinking back, I wish I'd have gone for that because the price of a battery is £50 on its own. So for 2 batteries, you're looking at £500. So with the Fly More kit, it's like adding 2 batteries, and you do need another battery. If I'm honest, you can use one, but by the time you've started flying it and you're enjoying yourself and you think, right, now I'm going to go and fly over there, your battery's kind of running out. So if you're going to get one, I'd go for the Fly More kit. It's well worth it for the extra £100. Like I said, you get 2 batteries, which pays for the £100 itself. Then there's the charger. I can't exactly remember how much the charger was, but I think that was about £45, and that's without the bag. So yeah, if you're going to get the drone, go for the Fly More kit. It doesn't come green like that, it comes grey. But the first few times I flew it, I was getting attacked by birds quite a lot. So I looked on the internet to find out how to stop it, and some people were saying you can try putting stickers on, a sticker kit on it. So I thought, what have I got to lose? I put a sticker kit on it, and it's kind of worked. I've had no kind of bird attacks. They've kind of showed some interest, but not as bad as it was when I never had no stickers on. So for all the people that say it doesn't work, I beg to differ. It works for me. So that's my drone. And the case I actually use is a case I got from China. I can't remember what I bought it for. I bought it for something in the past, probably to put my gimbal in or something like that. It's just an hard case from China, and I think it was about £4. And it fits my drone with the wings folded in. Fits perfectly in the case with the controller, absolutely perfectly in. The only other thing I did buy for the drone was a gimbal cover. This apparently blocks some of the light you'll get from sun, so if the sun's over here and you're getting some glare across the screen, this will block that, and it also protects the gimbal itself on the drone if it falls down. And obviously the SD card and a propeller kind of guard for when you put it away into the bag. Stops the propellers getting caught up. That's my drone. I have got drone videos on my channel, which I'll leave some links below if you want to check them out. Back to my camera. I'm going to go through what's on the table in no order. I'm just going to pick it up and just let you know. Batteries for my camera. The Sony a6400 batteries are £50 each. I bought some third-party batteries from Nua. 2 batteries and a charger was £45. The batteries are just as good as the original Sony ones in my opinion. They don't last as long, but there's not a lot of difference in them. And it's always useful to have more than one battery, because you will kill a battery the more you get into photography, and if you're going out for 4 or 5 hours doing landscape shots or whatever, you will go through your batteries. The Sony a6400 camera, which I've got, is a crop sensor, 1.5 crop sensor, 24 megapixel camera. It cost me £1,399. With that, I had it with the 18 to 135mm lens, which is, in my opinion, a brilliant lens. It's a real good run and shoot lens. I've done macro work with it, attempted birds in flight, but I'm not very good at that yet. I've done moonshots with it, time lapses with it. I've done loads of things with it. It's a really, really good lens. You can get that camera with a 50mm lens and the price drops a bit, or you can get it just body only. I don't know the exact prices. It's now been superseded, that camera, I think, by the Sony a6600, a6600 if you want to say it that way, which is more or less the same kind of camera, but I think the battery life's been improved. It now has in-body stabilisation, which the Sony a6400 doesn't. And I think there's a few other little tweaks, but there's nothing drastic. It's more or less kind of the same camera. With the Sony cameras, the Sony mirrorless cameras, when you take the lens off to change the lens, the sensor is exposed. Now the sensors are prone to getting dust on them. So you have to be careful where you take the lens off, where you change your lens. You don't do it in dusty areas because you'll get dust on your lens. So when you take photos, then you'll have little dust spots all over your photos. The first point of call to remove the dusts is a rocket blower. Now this rocket blower just basically, you can hear it, just squeezes air. You take your lens off, hold the camera upside down, shoot the air onto the lens, and hopefully any loose dust will fall off. If you still have dust on your sensor, you can send it away to be cleaned, which works. I think last time I looked it was about £35–40. Takes a couple of days. And or you can do it yourself. I was a bit, oh God, I'm going to do it myself on a £1,000 camera. I've never done it before, but it's a lot easier than you think. You kind of buy some kind of swabs, you put some solution on it, all comes in a pack, and you wipe from left to right on your lens, right to left again, and then put your lens back on. And for me, that has done the trick every time. This doesn't work, so it saves me £30 a go. I think it cost me about £25 for the kit, but you can clean your lens with that about 7 or 8 times. And you do need to clean your lens every now and then. No matter how careful you are, it does get dust on it. The other thing I have bought is a pack of microfiber cleaning cloths. These are from K&F Concept. I think they were about £10 for about 10. They're about that big, and they're good for cleaning your camera overall, your lenses and things like that. I haven't actually got any open at the moment, I don't think. So, but yeah, they're good quality, and always carry one or some of them in your bag to clean your camera. Circular polarizer. This one is from Tiffin. This goes on the lens, and it goes onto the lens of the lens I'm shooting with at the moment. Obviously different lenses have different sizes, so you have to buy obviously the right size. Sorry, my nose is running. Right size polarizer for your lens. The way this works is it fits onto the front of the camera and then it twists, and it's like having a pair of sunglasses on your camera, but the more you twist it, the stronger your sunglasses get. This is good for bright sunny days when you're shooting by water. It stops reflection, it stops glare and things like that. So very good, but if I'm honest, I haven't used it that much, and most of the time it's because I'm too lazy to get it out of the bag. The next thing I've got, this one is from K&F Concept. This is an ND filter. This is a 10-stop ND filter. This is like a dark pair of sunglasses. This is non-adjustable. You can get different stops, different grades of ND filter, telling you which will be different shades of dark. This is a 10-stop one, so it's one of the darkest. The reason I've got that, it helps with bright sunlight conditions. If you wanted to slow down the shutter speed on your camera, for example, if you was to take a photo of a waterfall and you want the water to have that kind of misty kind of stopped in its tracks, a soft blurry effect, you can put that on your camera. Then you can slow your shutter speed down, which will then leave the camera shutter open for longer, which will allow the water to kind of look as one soft dreamy thing. You've all seen the photos. ND filter. Now I'm going to go on to my lenses. The first lens that I bought for my camera after the lens that I got was the Sony 35mm 1.8. This is good for portraits and good for low light because it's 1.8, which means it's got a bigger, it lets more light in basically. I'm not going to go into details and stuff. It lets more light in basically. So that's the reason I bought that, because the lens I'm using on the camera at the moment is only 3.5, so it doesn't let as much light in as this one does. And the Sony a6400 isn't the best in kind of low light situations. It does produce quite a lot of noise in photos. So I went for something like this so I could kind of take shots later on in the evening and at night without as much noise. Don't use that as much, to be honest, but I will start now the nights are getting a bit darker, and yeah, that's that lens. The next lens I bought, oh, by the way, I think I bought that second hand from the same person I bought this one from second hand. I was looking for a macro lens, and this guy I seen on Facebook, on eBay, I don't normally buy second hand stuff, but I was just looking at the prices, and I could tell from the post this guy had just bought his camera. He'd only done about 300 shots on his camera, so he couldn't get into it, or for one reason or another, and he was selling it with his lenses. He put these on at stupid starting prices. They were, I think this was £40 and this was £50. Now I think they're both a couple of £100 each, these lenses, and I got them both for I think £160 in the end. And I also got an extender kit, which kind of magnifies what the lens can do as well, which I don't know where they are, but they're upstairs somewhere. So both lenses I got for that kind of money. This is my macro lens, and this is a 3.5 30mm lens. If I'm totally truthful, I'm not very good with this lens at all. It's got a shallow depth of field, which means, imagine I'm taking a photo of this. The depth of field that the camera will view on backwards is razor thin, so it's very hard to get all of the details in shot. So if you was taking a photo of a spider, it kind of only focuses on some of it, not the back of it. Don't get me wrong, it can, and it does, but you have to really know how to do it. And I was under the impression when I bought the lens, oh, it's a macro lens, I'll take the photo and it'll come out brilliantly. It doesn't work like that. But I am getting slightly better with it, but I do find it a little bit difficult to use, to get right. And the good thing with this macro lens is, with each lens you have a focal distance of where you can take a photo. So say this lens was attached to my camera, I might not be able to get any focus with this lens until I'm that far away from the subject. With the macro lens you can get that close, so you can get right up to the subject and take photos, which is the good thing about about macro lenses. So yeah, that's my macro lens. I've gone through that one. My next lens that I bought, and I do love this lens, it's a brilliant lens. This is a Sony 70-250 G lens. It's super sharp, it's really sharp. It extends up to 300 for the size of it, and it shoots up to 350mm. It's got OSS on, which is the stabilising and the autofocus and manual focus buttons. I do love this lens, like I keep telling you, and it's very, very sharp. It's small, it's compact, and it's light. I'll move on to my next lens. This is my recent purchase, which is, I don't know why I'm having to keep look, I know what they are. This is a 200-600mm telephoto or super zoom lens. This goes up to 350mm, this goes up to 600mm. Now the size difference is a hell of a lot. Now the reason I upgraded to this was I bought this initially to get some birds in flight shots, or to try birds in flight shots, but it just didn't have the reach for me. I was always finding myself I wasn't close enough. But if you're on a kind of weight limit and you've got a smaller bag or something, you're not going to be carrying this around with you, because it is it's heavy. The first thing when I noticed when I took this out of the box was how heavy it was, and holding this up with your camera for a good while, photographing birds, it is heavy. And if you're going out on a day trip, not knowing what you're going to be shooting, not knowing what's going to be there, you might not want to be taking that with you, where that will be perfect. It weighs next to nothing. So I was thinking of selling that because I've got this area of focal length covered. I've got from 24mm to 135mm on the lens I'm shooting. I've got a 30mm macro, a 35mm portrait, so I got to 135mm. Then this covers from 70 to 200mm, so I'm covered up to 200mm, sorry, up to 350. And then somewhere in between, this starts again at 200, which goes all the way up to 600. With this lens, you can also add a teleconverter on it, which is like an attachment you put onto your camera, which will then kind of magnify how far this goes. So I can add a 1.4 teleconverter on it, which will increase it by 1.4. But this is plenty for me. I don't think I'm going to be buying one of those teleconverters because they're quite a lot of money. I think they're more or less the same price as this. Going back to the prices, sorry I keep skipping things. This was £850. This one was 1,400 and something. I've had it about a month and I'm slowly getting used to it. For the first week or so when I had this camera, the weather was really bad and there was just no birds out. It was cloudy and dull and there was not really nothing to take photos with. So I've been still going out as much as I can and trying to get used to this lens. Now the good thing about this lens, at the moment it's at 200mm. I will now make it go up to 600. That's it. So as you can see, the lens doesn't extend at all. It's an internal zoom, which is good. And also the actual distance of turning from 200mm to 600mm is just a quarter of a turn. You're not turning it around to increase it, which is really good. It has on it the autofocus, the manual focus. It's got distances of where you want the focus to start. So you can say start from 10 meters. Sorry, 10 meters to 2.2 meters. 10 meters from 10 meters to 2.4 meters. Use the full capability of it, or from 10 meters to infinity. Always just keep it on full. Then you've got your optical steady shot, which is your stabilization, and then you've got different modes for your panning. Number one will kind of is best for all directions. So if you're tracking a bird going up and down all over the place, I think that's number one. Number two is just horizontal, and I think 3 is just vertical. I think, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what they want. 2 and 3 or 4. I've looked on the internet for bird photography, which is just really what I use this for, and some people have said try it in 2, so that's what I've got it switched on at the moment. The other thing about this lens, it has a foot at the bottom, which you can turn around, obviously for putting on your tripods, and obviously tighten it when you want to tighten it, and that'll stop that moving around. On here you also have your focus buttons, or you can program those on your camera to do what you want. I've got that set for focus lock, so if I'm focusing on a bird, I can keep my finger on that button, move the camera away, and when I put it back it's still focused on where it was before. The thing I've added to this are some Peak Design clips, because I have a Peak Design strap which I haven't got with me now, so I'll go and get that and I'll show you what that does. These aren't cheap. They do different kind of straps. I think this was around £50. I'm hopeless with prices and how much I've spent. I try not to think about it. But the way these work is you have these like little toggles that you fasten to your camera or to your big heavy lenses. Now they recommend you put your camera strap on this lens because it's heavier than the camera, and obviously you don't want to put all the weight and have this hanging off a camera with your strap to it. So with the Peak Design strap you get 4 of these in the kit. I have 2 on the camera and 2 on the zoom, and the way they work is you have these little toggles and it just slides into like a groove, and you pull it and then it's attached to your strap, and the only way to get it out is to hold the clip in, pull it out, and then you go. I love this strap. It's good because you don't always want your strap on your camera, and it's so easy to take off on and off. Your standard straps that you can't take on and off, or that you're not going to get them off in a couple of seconds like this. One other thing I've got, which is just going back to the drone, is a landing mat for the drone, which I keep in the bottom of my bag. This folds up like this, and this is good for when you're using your drone in longer grass, because the drone won't take off if the propellers are hitting something such as grass. So this obviously flattens the grass and gives you a flat landing fall, which is nice because that all folds up nice and flat. Going to bags. Now this is my smaller kind of run around quick bag if I'm just taking the bare minimum with me, such as a camera and maybe a lens or two. I can fit my camera, 2 lenses, three lenses in this bag, and my drone. So it's a good bag for the size of it. My camera fits in the top, 2 lenses in the compartments, and I can then fit the drone on top of there in the case. So it's actually bigger than it looks. And the good thing about this bag is it's side opening. I'll stand up for this, and it's just like a sling bag. So if you've got this on, I'll put it on like this, and how you carry it, you can spin your bag around, undo the zips from here, take your camera out, zip it back up without all taking your bag off, and just throw it around. I love the versatility, is that the word? You know what I mean, of getting your camera out with that bag. It's also got a little compartment in the top for putting things such as your, I don't know, sandwiches, phone, whatever else you want to keep in there, your filters, or you could even get another couple of lenses in there if you want. I think this bag was about £27. It's waterproof, it comes with a waterproof cover, and this is made by Newer, same people that made the batteries. I'm trying to rush through as quick as I can. And my other one is my big camera bag. Now I've had this one from the start and it's done alright. It's been a decent bag. This will carry now all of my equipment. Now it's not supposed to, because again this comes in 2 sections. Two sections. You put your camera on the top, obviously you can have a lens fitted with it. You got these kind of fold away, these bits that you can attach here, different pockets to put different lenses in. You have a kind of pocket here, zip up pocket to put other things in, whatever you want to put in it. Now as I said, this isn't supposed to fit all my gear because this is too big to fit in that. But this camera bag has 2 sections to it. It has a bottom section as well, which is separate from the top. It's closed off here. Now, when I bought my lens, I thought, well, I've got to make sure that fits in the bag, and it didn't. And I thought, oh no. So I'm looking at camera bags now, and the price I was looking at, you're looking around at least £150 for a camera bag. And I was a bit gutted because I thought, well, I've just spent £1,400 on that. I don't really want to spend another £150 on just a bag when this one's, it did the job. So, as I said, this one folded down, and you've got another compartment in the bottom where I used to keep my drone and all my drone stuff. So being the clever little person I am, what I did was I cut a hole in the top part of the bag. There's like foam in between it. So I cut a hole between the top part of the bag, and I didn't cut the foam out. I let the foam stay there. So when I seal that bag back up, now, that lens will fit in both all the way down, and it's got the little kind of, I've left the bottom of the section to kind of protect it, and it's also got protection at the bottom, so saved me 140 odd quid. You've got another pocket here, which at the moment I think I'll just keep in the waterproof cover that comes for the bag. Got another pocket here, another pocket here. So it's got the side compartments on the bag for putting your tripod on, attaching your tripod to, obviously 2 straps at the back with the, you know, kind of chest thing, and the one at the bottom, which when you've got a lot of weight, that does make a difference. I was moaning when I was carrying my bag around and we went to the peak just before and how heavy it was, but when I actually put them straps on as well, I noticed it made a hell of a lot of difference to the weight that was on your back. So yeah, that's the bag. It's made by Unho. It wasn't particularly expensive. I think it was about £40, but if I can, I'll find some links for all of this stuff and drop the prices down below. But for the price, yeah, it's a decent bag. It does the job. I would like a new bag. I've had my eye on a couple that I like, but it's all money, and camera stuff is expensive, as you probably know. I think that's more or less everything that I've got covered. I think when did I go over the camera? I can't remember if I went over the camera first time before when my mic wasn't working or not. So I'll quickly go over it again, just in case. If I cut this bit now, I've already done it. So my camera is a Sony a6400. I bought it with the 18 to 135mm lens. It came to £1,399. The reason I bought that camera was at the time I was recording on my phone and I needed something a little bit better quality. Well, a little bit, it's a lot better quality. And I wanted to have a go at photography. It's my first camera. I wanted to get like a decent one. I didn't want to go for a cheap one. I didn't want to kind of buy cheap and regret it and we'll have to pay later. There's a saying for that, isn't there? Is it buy cheap, buy twice, or so? It's something like that. So I kind of wanted to get a good one that would do me, would last me a while. And as I said, it's lasted me 16 months and I love it. I love it to bits. But I feel I am slowly outgrowing it. Not that I've mastered it, not that I'm brilliant at photography. It's just that I've noticed for some things I want to do now, my camera doesn't do, or it doesn't do as well as another camera. So I am looking at another camera. I'm looking at a full frame. Now I won't be selling this camera because this camera is brilliant at what it does, and it does some things really, really well. One being the size. It's a good size. It's nice, easy, fast, portable, light. It does videos really well. It's got excellent tracking on it. So I will be keeping this camera, and the new camera which I am looking at, and I'm keep going between the new Sony a7R4, which has 61 megapixels. This camera has 24. Or the Sony a7 III, which is another good camera. It's got 42 megapixels. Now the reason I want to upgrade to full frame is obviously it's a bigger screen. There's more megapixels, more resolution. It works better in low light. Yeah, and it also gives me the ability to crop. Now doing birds in flight and birds photography, if you're taking a photo of a bird and in your photo, say your screen you're looking at now is the photo, the bird's that big, but you want to just crop everything else out and have that bird in focus. The more you crop, the more pixels you lose. So on mine at the moment, if I got 24 to start with and I start cropping, I get to here halfway across and I'm at 12. So, you know, if I have more megapixels to start with, I can crop in more and keep the kind of resolution that I've got using this camera. That's the plan. And it also works better under low light, which I find the Sony a6400 isn't that good at, to be honest. A lot of if it starts getting dark or a little bit cloudy and that, you can start to see a bit of noise, and obviously of an evening and things like that, or shooting when it's really dark, you really do notice it. And the Sony a7R3 or R4 is a lot better under low noise. Right, I think I've gone through everything. Oh, the only other thing I've got, three more things I've got, which I'll show you, but I can't show you as I'm showing you now because I need my camera off my phone, is I've bought an external mic, which is a Boya external mic, which plugs onto the top of the camera and goes into the back. That helps the sound, especially when you're outside. It's got one of those kind of wind muffs on. I've bought a K&F Concept tripod, which I'm using at the moment, which is a brilliant tripod. It turns into a monopod. It's nice and sturdy. The only downside I've got with that is it's a little bit on the heavy side, but the more you pay, the lighter you can get them. But for the amount I use a tripod, I'll just put up with the fact that it's heavy. That's it. I will now get my phone and give you a quick look at the camera and a quick look at the tripod, and that will be it. Okay, so as I said before, I'm recording on my phone now. That's my camera, the Sony a6400, and that's the 18 to 135mm lens. It's set up for vlogging at the moment. That's why it's got this big microphone on the top, which is the Boya microphone. Comes with the dead cat on, which is what they're called, which is funny. And again, it has the Peak Design clips. The screen is lifted up at the back, so I can see myself when I'm recording, to see what I'm actually recording. And that's it. I'm not going to go too much into the camera, just to show you what it was. The other thing I wanted to show you was the tripod. That's the K&F Concept tripod. It's got obviously moving ball head. It can be turned into a monopod, and obviously it folds all up as tripods do. So that's it. That's all my gear. That's all the gear I've got in the last 16 months. As I said, camera equipment is expensive, and I think there's about £5,500 worth of stuff there now. And I want a new one, a new camera, and the new camera with a full frame lens. I kind of want an equivalent of the lens I'm using, the 18 to 135, which will kind of give me a run and gun shoot kind of lens that will be versatile for a lot of things. With that and the camera, I'm looking at another 2,500, I think, for the two lenses, for the lens and the camera. So that won't be happening for a couple of months, as I've still got to pay off this. I've paid off a lot of it, but there's still a little bit I've got to pay off. So once I've paid that off, I'll look at getting that camera, but I'll need to save a bit of money for that. And don't tell the missus. So yeah, thanks for looking. Sorry it's been long, but it's a video I've wanted to do in a long time, just to let you know everything I've got. When you get it on the table, it doesn't look that much, but it does me for what I want. There's always other things I want. I want a Rode wireless mic, so I don't have to keep putting that mic on top. I can have it attached to me, so when I'm doing my vlogs, when I'm out, I can just walk around, walk away from the camera as far as I want, and the volume, the quality of the sound will be good. They're a couple of £100. What else am I looking at? Also, another thing that would be good is a DJI Pocket. What they're called? I think it's just called a DJI Pocket, and it's like a camera on a stick that does videoing, like a stable like the Osmo, but it's about that big and it fits in your pocket. So I could do all my video work just holding it out like that, talking to myself, and just put it away straight back in my pocket, which would be a lot quicker. But again, it's money, and that's down the line a bit. That's it. I'm looking how long I've been recording for. It's been a long time. I'm gonna have to edit some of this out. But I'm going to do a couple of videos from now on of settings, things like that. Try and just change the content of my video. Try and make it a bit more interesting and a bit more informative. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. They won't all be as boring as this, and hopefully you'll get to learn a little bit of something. As I said in my previous video, I don't class myself as being a professional photographer, far from it, but I feel like I know a few things now that I could pass on to beginners that might help them out. And there's also things I search for on the internet looking for answers for that I can't find videos for. So I'm going to try and do some of those kind of little videos. I may not be full of all the information that you want, but I'll be able to kind of show you something I can't find on the internet at the moment. But again, so I'm waffling on. I'll shut up. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It helps my channel grow. Like the video, that helps as well. And if you want to check out some of my photos, you can follow me on Instagram. Follow me on that as well. I'm trying to grow that channel. I'm trying to grow everything. Just click and subscribe to everything. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps my channel grow. Helps me get out there, gets more followers. You know. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Until next time. See you later.